Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mike Reed. I'm a commercial appliance technician here to give you information on the commercial appliance business. Thank you for coming. In my last live and talking with you all, I decided to give you a little more information on the grocery chain business. And I ran across training that Zero Zone has decided to come up with. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into showing you guys who and what Zero Zone is and what they mean to the industry. Let me see if I have a little. No, it's Frosty Factory. All right, so here's Zero Zone. They're in your grocery stores. They're in some of the Dollar Generals and Family Dollar that might be close to you. You will also see them as an option in your Targets and Walmart. Now, Target and Walmart, they use a different brand, but they still, on the occasion, you will still see a Zero Zone case. There are quite a few guys that have videos out there that work on the grocery units on these cases. And they are very good representation of what happens when you go out there and work on these grocery units. Zero Zone from Minnesota. As they show, they've been around since the 70s. Let's see here if we can. They do industrial. So this is like your gateway. This is your gateway drug into light industrial and into industrial. This is your gateway into rack systems. There's your retail market, as you know, with your Whole Foods and that type of thing. In your Sam's Clubs, quite a few of you have been, membership, as they say, the membership warehouses. Ever since I brought this up, you guys are scanning everywhere you go. See right there, discount dollar stores, the supermarkets, drugstores, convenience stores, that type of thing. So these are all Zero Zone. It's very difficult to tell these units apart, especially since the doors can be, if they do have doors, which now they're making them put doors on almost all these units, just like you see on this lower right hand side. Let me make sure this is big enough for you guys to see. So now regulations are making them put doors on these things. You could have Anthony doors on them, or they'll actually have the doors from that manufacturer. So this is what they look like. This is their, as they say, the mechanical center. I myself don't work on rack systems or light industrial. I work on the self-contained and the remote units. And here we go. This is exactly what you see, as you see with the beer caves and that kind of thing. Those are made by Zero Zone. It takes them 12 weeks to make them, and then they send them out disassembled. And you see these in your gas stations everywhere else here. Places like Pete's Fresh Mart and that type of thing. Here's your rack system. And let me give you this and put this in the in the chat so you guys can follow along. Let me show you this. So these units are using CO2. CO2 is not a new thing. CO2 is an OG. CO2 has been around. CO2 and ammonia were the first refrigerants that they used for residential and commercial. Way back in the day. So now we've come full circle, come back to CO2. CO2 is what Coke and Pepsi use in their systems. So learning this is going to help you with those other refrigerators. So what they have is it's a 2-day training program with a half-day hands-on. So you get a hands-on training with this. It's all going to be handled by Zero Zone. It's not like it's outsourced. And they've been doing this for 2 years now. Only 150 students have completed this. You will get a certification, which is what you're going to need to advertise your business. Oh, hell. There we go. So you got an 8 to 5 day. Oh, and the second day is only 8 to 3. So that's not bad. All right, so they're only asking for safety shoes because you're going to be in the factory floor. And this is the address. So here's the address. You have to pay for your own hotel stay. You have to pay for your own travel. And they're giving you corporate rates if you stay at a particular hotel they ask you to. It's $400. Hey, what's happening? We're going over grocery store cases. So we have quite a few people that are interested in grocery. A little bit of a disclaimer on the grocery stuff. I'm going to play a video, not from Zero Zone. I'm going to play a video from another brand where they show how the cases are assembled. It appears that these cases are very secure, but that's just what it appears to be. They do advertise that there is a tipping hazard. When these units are remote or self-contained, where they have the compressor mounted up on the top, that means you didn't have to climb on top of the case and do work. There is a chance that the case can tip over and fall, killing someone below and possibly yourself. So that is something you must be careful of. This is not something that you take lightly. Oh, sure, no problem. Hey, and then did you see the Dan Foss apps? So there's tons of apps for Dan Foss. Crystal Clean, what's happening? So once again, we're going over the grocery cases. So this is only $400, essentially $200 a day. So it's 2 days. They're giving you lunch and dinner one of the days. You're going to get your training manuals and you're going to get a certificate. Now, this is something I don't know if I'm going to do that this year, because I just found out about this. So here it is. I know you guys don't like the sit down class. The education part is extremely boring for most people. But yeah, you got to sit down and get it. All right. So where they go over the basics, understanding CO2, and then familiarizing yourself with the components, and then the piping techniques, oil level controls, and then the startup procedures. You get a little review in the quiz. They want to make sure that you were paying attention in class and not just sleeping through the whole thing and then just paying attention for the hands-on. So 400 is not bad. This here appears to be as if someone sent, they appear to be from like 2 different service companies is what it looks like. I can't put my finger on it, but a name is popping to my mind. So they do this training once a month. There is no set date. Before you guys go nuts and start asking me, hey, what day is it? There is no set date. Hey, Royce, what's happening? Hey, sorry, I haven't been around for your channel. I've been running. I've been busy at work and then all this other stuff. This is Royce J. He has a channel on YouTube. He talks about current events and whatnot. And I saw you on a panel. I believe it was Mr. Fantastics. I saw you on there, man. All right, so let's see here. And I know, Royce, this might not appeal to you too much because this is this is grocery store refrigeration. I take my daughter to a Chinese grocery store around the corner because we have a lot of Chinese neighborhoods here in Houston. And when I was there, I looked at some of the cases and whatnot. Let me show you guys. I'm going to show you guys some pictures from that. I remember when they first redid this grocery store, they put in brand new True units, and now the True units are almost out of there. But here's the information: Zero Zone. Definitely check them out if you have any desires on doing commercial grocery stores. This is your gateway drug. This is the way in. Everybody always asks me, every single video I give you, this is how you should start. If you want to get into grocery stores, whether it be small ethnic grocery stores or medium-sized chains, this is it. This is your ticket right here. These guys are the ones that are going to teach you how you work with Zero Zone. Zero Zone is a major player. I would say they're within the top 5 on grocery cases. So this is what they look like. Let's see here. Now, I don't know if they're even going to go over. Here we go. Some of these, this is what the rack system looks like and the parallel rack system. When you get there, you can always inquire about training on this kind of stuff. I don't have any idea how involved the training course would be for this or how expensive. I just know it wouldn't be, at least it would be probably a week or two. Everybody's using 448. That's what they're going to, and I already heard that they're phasing out 448 and going to something else. Here's your 717, which is the ammonia. And then you have your CO2, which is the R744. Using scroll compressors, Copeland, all that fun stuff. All right, let's see here. What did Royce have to say? Oh, I didn't know you were interested in that commercial stuff. I usually hold back on it because commercial involves a certain amount of danger in the commercial light industrial space, especially when you start getting into grocery. Man, there's a lot of these cases have to be you have to lift them up. So you kind of like take a car jack on those pump car jacks to lift them up to work on the drainage underneath. So and then you have a tipping hazard with that. Once you lift it off the ground, now you have to stabilize that sucker while it's up to deal with damaged PVC piping, that kind of thing. All kind of fun stuff. All kind of fun stuff. So I kind of was holding back on that kind of stuff. Let me get into. I'm going to get into some boring stuff. I'm going to show you some videos, how they put these cases together. Because, hey, Royce, I was telling a lot of people that follow me about the Aldi's deal. Aldi's is buying out about 3 different chains of grocery stores across the South. And then they're going to close some of them and actually convert the vast majority of them into Aldi's all across the South, from Louisiana all the way to Florida. They're going to start converting them. And so they're going to need a good 100 or so technicians to go out there and disassemble all of these cases like what I'm showing. So people are going to have to recover the refrigerant in there before they even start breaking them down. They're going to have to recover them. They're going to isolate these systems. They're going to have to disconnect the electrical. They're going to have to disconnect the drainage, all that stuff, and then disconnect the cases. So let me get into that. That brings me to Arnig. There we go. Oh, I just had it. Now, I know this is a brand that even guys that work in the business don't even know about. This is an Italian company. And because they're an Italian company, they let me see here. Because they're an Italian company, they actually have quite a few videos that show how you put these cases together and take them apart. Maybe I'll just go onto YouTube. ARNEG. Let me see if I can find with these cases using 448, with them using ammonia and the CO2. It's a lot easier to bring in these cases from Italy and Spain and the whole nine. Let me just jump to YouTube. All right, bear with me 1 second. I'm probably gonna have to kill this music. So this is it. They're in North Carolina, Lexington, North Carolina. Do have quite a few people that follow me from North Carolina. Sorry, on their website, I had it on my phone. I don't exactly have it on the. I don't have it on this computer. I already had it looked up, but they have it. They have it on their YouTube channel where they take the. Here we go, the assembly video. See, I just watched it. Let me kill my music so you guys can hear this a little better. And then so you get a good idea on what's involved in disassembling a case, putting a case together. These are all things that you're going to need. These are all things that you're going to need to know with replacing, with disassembling these units. I don't even know if this is English. Yeah, so this video is to show how the cases are joined. Let me make this bigger. Yes, this is big boy stuff. You're gonna need forklifts and things to move these around. So that's something to keep in mind when you're dealing with this. These are the clips that hold the shelves in place. Very similar to Howard McRae. Make sure you guys are seeing the same thing. Okay. Oh, you guys are really quiet. Let me see if I can get this sound. There is no... Interesting. I thought they would have sound, but they had no sound. Yeah, sound on. All right, so this is fine for narration. So here it is. There's your gaskets for foam units up. Provide that seal, prevent air leakage. So this is what you have to do. This is what's required. If you, let's just say, my only thing to you is that there's more of a likelihood that you could win a contract to remove these units. It's an even larger hurdle to get the contract to do the installation. That's highly unlikely. It's more likely that you would get the demo contract. That would be open to most. All they have to do is just say that, yeah, they can do the reclaiming of the refrigerant, which would have to be done. So here you go. They're using that jack to pull it up. And there are a number of these pins and things. That's how they connect these cases together. You can order these cases in any number of different sizes. And so you have to put them together. This is very similar to what they do with flight dishwashers. See, nothing special. Even on the factory instructional video, they're using the side of the wrench instead of a hammer. And once again, a forklift. Now this is Arneg. While this is going on, I'm going to put this in there. In the chat, that's the address for Zero Zone, but I'm going to give you the information for Arneg. It's arnegusa.com. Now, I have not talked to Arneg yet. I don't know if they're offering any type of training. I don't know if that's even a possibility. Let's say if I can get a number of you together, because there are so many of you concentrated in North Carolina, in Florida, and the New Jersey area. So getting a number of you together for a class would be nice. See, here it is. So you have to join these cases together. So keep this in mind. When you're climbing up on top of these cases and you're working on a condenser unit on top of the cases, this is how they're held together, just with these pins. And so if any of these pins are missing, when you climb up there, you're under the assumption that all this is being installed. That is not always the case. Once these things start to tip, there's no going back. So I would just say for safety reasons for the general public, if you do have to go on top of a case, cone the aisle, especially starting off. Cone the aisle, just rope it off, make sure nobody comes over that way in the instance that a case tips. Because if a case tips, that person is not going to survive that case falling on them. There's no way. So as you see, fair use. This video is used for instructional purposes. So here they are putting this thing all together. And you would actually like take that back panel off. That's where they have the LED drivers and things. You would go back behind there and install that. This video is probably before LED lighting. So now the LED lighting is in the back, and you plug into the LED lighting, and that illuminates the shelves. That's how the new ones go. They have the lighting on the shelves above it. And those are options. So not every case has lights on the inside, but they can. All right, so that is, he just said congratulations. So that is an RNIG case, and that is the same way that you would have to do a zero zone. It's the same way you would have to do any of these other cases. Any questions so far?
My role is to lead the strategy for facilities maintenance and drive best practices and system reliability.
Yes, skip this. I love my accountable commentary. There's Mike Sneed. All right, let's see here. Why won't this thing let me? There we go. You're probably going to see a couple of pictures of the little one. We went to the auto show today, and I was thinking about you guys. I said these people always say they never see commercial when they're out, and I always find that to be amazing. That is what you guys say. Let me see if I have any pictures. All right, so tell you what, probably gonna have to do these one at a time. One at a time. All right, so we got zero zone. Oh, let me show you Howard McRae. While I'm doing this, I'm syncing up my photos from earlier today. Has anybody been to Texas Roadhouse? Have you ever eaten there? Well, if you have seen a Howard McRae case. If you have ever been to Texas Roadhouse, it's the meat cases where they have the, okay, good. Yeah, it's the meat cases. Thank you, Royce. It's where you can pick out your steaks. That is a Howard McRae. Every Texas Roadhouse has this. And I've gone over this before because it is the Orion Fogel, right? And Howard McRae is all one company now. They used to be different companies. So this is also a major player, and here's a meat case. It's a major player in the, I'm trying to think, if this one. I think it's this one. So that's the one that you see when you first walk into Texas Roadhouse. And just so you know, if you have any desire to do work at a Texas Roadhouse, behind the bar, all that stuff is Perlick. The mug chiller is Perlick. The ice machine is Hoshizaki. The ovens are Vulcan. The convection ovens, I think, are Vulcan. The dishwasher is Hobart, but that's rented, that's leased. Let me see what else they got in there. And I think the deep fryers they use are Pitco. I can't remember right offhand what the brand of deep fryers are that they use in there. But they typically use, from what I've seen here in this market, it's Vulcan fryers, which is Hobart. So they have the Hobart dishwasher, they have the Hobart oven, but Howard McRae. Always Howard McRae in the front. So Here it is. You have there's about 2 guys that handle tech support for Howard McRae. And these are the units. Let me give you the link in case you ever wanted to do work. Wait a minute, is it Hoshizaki? Yeah, it is Hoshizaki. Now the owner or the person that created Texas Roadhouse, he recently passed away, and they've been having some issues over there at Texas Roadhouse. I like to think of Texas Roadhouse as an ice rink without ice. Here in Texas, they actually have to have poles. They have guide rails in the back because the floor is so slippery in the back. It's just a mess back there. I don't know how anyone isn't seriously hurt at Texas Roadhouse. Okay, here is your contact information. They don't have any training at Howard McRae. No training. But here's the phone number and the extension for tech support if you would need it. Like I said, they have about 2 maybe 3 people. Let me see if I could pull up. I have some pictures. I do have pictures of Howard McRae. And I'm going to see if, yes, everything's synced up. Okay. All right. So I can show you these photos now. Let me stop this screen. Let me add a screen. So we can go through some real life stuff. And I just so happened when I went to the auto show today, I saw one of those automated vending. It was an automated store. I saw AMT. Yeah. CEO James said the Howard McRae's are used in Dollar General for produce. When it comes to Dollar General, I don't really go too far past the front door because that's where the refrigerators and stuff that I work on. And if I ever do go into Dollar General, I run in and grab a drink or something and then run to the register. And so I never really go much past that way. I saw this one brand, Cryotech, and this is being used by Pepsi. Oh man, I missed it. Anyway, so that Cryotech is being used by, that was a Pepsi machine that was down. This, let's see, hopefully this music isn't too, this isn't too loud. This, I remember when they first bought this True. This is a Chinese grocery store around the corner from the house. That sucker is still, they're doing a good job cleaning it. But that they don't clean the condenser and they don't have any type of maintenance done to these units. None. So they end up looking like this, which means that shortly after warranty is up, which I think the warranty is already up. Shortly after warranty is up, the unit is trashed. So here we go. Once again, because people say, hey, I'm working on a Hobart. And I say, a Hobart? Hobart what? What in Hobart? So there's the big H for Hobart. And on the display panel, that is Hobart. So this is a Hobart tunnel of one of the bakery ovens, the roll-in ovens. Let me see if I got a better picture. There it is. Better picture so you can see the Hobart symbol. Oh, nothing wants to work. Yeah, Hobart. So there you go, Hobart. Hobart does mixers, blenders, refrigerators. Because they're Illinois Tool Works, they could quite literally make something say Hobart on it that never did before. They actually have refrigerators that say Hobart on it. You don't see it that often, but they're out there. I don't know what that's about, whether they do that specifically for marketing. Maybe somebody from Hobart can chime in and tell us what the hell that's all about. So here's Arnick live in person. So I saw that today. Let me see if you guys can see that in the, yeah, you see at the very top. I saw this today, this afternoon. Arnick. This was, so these units are here in this country. They use them in the fish case. So it's not like I'm showing you something and it's some kind of hypothetical. No, Arnick is here. These things are all around. More Arnick. So somebody was asking about, I think there's Frosty Factory. So once again, this afternoon, I saw a unit, Frosty Factory. This is exactly what I was telling you about with the 2 3-way switches. And I believe this one does, yeah, they're doing something, because this is a coffee shop. They're doing some kind of frozen coffee drink. So that is your, and this is, I did a story on this one. This is your automated store. So you put your credit card into the machine. You walk in, you select what you want, and when you walk out again, it charges you for what you have picked up. So this is completely automated. There are no people in the store, no registers. Everything is RFID tagged. But in order to go in, you have to slide your credit card into the reader. So here it is. It's called the Houston, Texas market. They're going to pre-authorize $25 on your card. You walk in, you know what I'm saying? And then when you walk out with it, they're going to charge you. Whatever you stuff in your pockets, they're gonna bill you for it. So there's no fear of theft. They're just gonna bill you for it. You can't even walk in without your credit card. So once again, so that's Frosty Factory. Like I said, it's everywhere. So it's in coffee shops. This is a Cat's Coffee, which is a well-known chain. Here's the speed oven. It's the Turbo Chef. I don't know if you guys saw me in the Panera, not the Panera, the Chipotle. The Chipotle that I was commissioning. I did the startup in that store. So I did the startup on that Turbo Chef. This is all a store really needs, is a speed oven. You have a frozen drink machine and a few other items, and away you go. There we go. I'm out of there. So here, when I went to the auto show, this is what you see. That's the little one. Let me get out of this. That's the little one hanging out with the little one. Let me see here. What I'm trying to show you is the stores that they had in the food kiosks that they had in the auto show. Like I was saying, food is everywhere. Restaurants are everywhere. I don't care where you go. I could have swore I took pictures of those different locations, and now I don't see a single one. I wanted to show you the different brands that they had. The different concept stores had Continental and everything else. Now let me show you this. Let me see if we can find this one. Cryotech. So this is new, made in Mexico. Hecho in Mexico. R290. And that's what you have. Made in February of 2023, and this unit is already down. See, this shelf is empty. That's why I took a picture of it. This was when I was in a grocery store. So I didn't have to move anything around. So this Pepsi has another unit that's down. I mean, I don't know what you guys are looking at. Everywhere I go, I see units that are disabled. Everywhere I go. Oh, what is that one called? All right, let's see here. We got a quiet crowd here today. How many people think they're interested in going to that zero zone class? All right, cryotech. And when it comes to Coke and Pepsi, you need to call your local distributor. So you call your local distributor and then you notify them that you would like to do the work, because Coke and Pepsi are not doing that. They're not doing any of that seal system work. All right, let's see what we got here. Cryotech refrigeration. Yeah, sometimes these places can be kind of hard to find. Well, there's parts. Here's Cryotech parts sold through Partstown, the Evil Empire. So you can get parts for Cryotech. Let's see what they got. LED driver, as usual, pins. The compressor is in stock. They're using Embraco, which makes sense. Door gaskets. Lamp switches. I'm trying to see if there's a controller here. Either, what is that? You're not going to be using this thermostat. Let's see here. Forced air thermostat. No, we're looking for. There's the evaporator. Let's see how many. There's one in stock. That's actually a good sign that they would actually have one in stock. I'm not seeing anything else other than that open air, forced air thermostat. And it says it's out of stock because now everything has to be digital. This is no longer allowed to have this. All right, so let's see what else we can find. So this is a brand that you should definitely contact, Cryotech. You can do work for Coke and Pepsi. All right, I think we found them. Yes, we found them. Let's see here. Region. They only have this in Spanish. All right. Innovations and efficiency in the industry of refrigeration. New equipment with alternate. Let's see here. Remedies for. Yeah, and then you see right in the back, you see Pepsi. Right in the back, you see Pepsi. Okay, so they got cases as well. They've got cases. They've got upright fridges. All right, for restaurants, butcher shops. Ideal for butcher shops and pastry. All right, let's see here. Now, why the hell does this thing have a translator? For your is the rentable. All right, enough of Spanish with Mike. But here, so as you can clearly see, they're using Pilsen as a customer, M&M Mars as a customer, Pepsi, Dan's is a Pepsi product, Budweiser. So this is definitely someone you should try to contact here. And where is the English? Spanish speakers, where are you? I mean, this is okay for me, but y'all gonna have to depend on my. You guys are gonna have to depend on my broken Spanish. It doesn't matter, Spanish or French. It's both horrible. Okay. So this is the Mexican business unit manager. Yeah, that's the Mexican business manager. Ooh, for the line. Compare in for the new line. Let's see here. So I'm going to put this in here. So this is a Mexican email address. But hopefully this person could guide you on over. There we go. So let me put this in the chat. So if you are at all interested in these units, they are in the United States. They are breaking down as we speak. I just saw one. You just saw the picture of it. Pepsi is their client. And they do not have, let me see if I can find something. There we go. English. Bam. Oh, no more Spanish with Mike. Here we go. We are saved. I can read it. Don't ask me to speak it. So yeah, they're doing the self-service units, coffee shops. They said they have brands. Down the rabbit hole we go. Dairy, ice cream, beer. Yeah, so we saw that with the, what was that, Budweiser? And they're even doing cold rooms. Simplify your sales. Okay. I am dealing with a number of Mexican manufacturers. The Onera is one. We have the ProCold is the other. How many of you are aware of ProCold, ProCut, and what's the other one? How many of you ever heard of that one? Well, I'm gonna show it to you. Hold on. This is another one that is out of Mexico that is also selling to Pepsi and Coke. They actually have, oh shoot, their stuff was right down there. They actually have an office here in Houston, Texas with me. So I've said this before, and I'll say this again. There are over 1,000 different commercial brands. You've never heard of them. You've never heard of any of these brands. So here is the ProCold. This is, let me see if I can show you. This is made in Mexico. Here's the Houston office. Not that far from me on Post Oak Road. And so their customer is Pepsi. So yeah, they have tech support. It's okay. This is part of a much larger organization. It's about 4 companies. This was part of a merger before COVID. Let me see if I could. Yeah, I like how they say made in North America, because Mexico is still North America. But it still gives you that impression, because you see North America. People they just stop when they see America. All right. Anybody interested in finding out? This is all going down the rabbit hole of the grocery stuff. Would you like to see the other part of the grocery? Such as, just like I showed you the case that had the fish in it. This same company makes the tools that they use to cut the fish up. Cut the fish up, cut the meat up, all those kind of things. Let me see here. Let me go with ProCut. So you're going to find Pro Cut meat grinder. So this is Pro Cut. It's part of Pro Cold. You will find this in a lot of ethnic grocery stores. You're going to find this. Fine, I'll let them know my location. So this is the other half that's behind the counter. What they do is they provide a complete package to a grocery store. It's Torre, Pro Cut, Pro Cold, and then another line. So they have everything a grocery store. So if you wanted to open up a grocery store tomorrow, if you had the space, you can contact a dealer such as myself. I would sell you everything, especially if you were here in Texas. I can have you all this stuff by the close of business. I can have you all this stuff by the close of business on Tuesday. You would have your grinders, and they have the parts here in Houston. The parts are actually, when you order from Partstown, they're actually being shipped out of Houston. So here's the grinders for the hamburger meat. They have the deli case. Let's see here. Slicers. So here's your slicers. Now, they're not exactly the best. They don't do any training. Dean doesn't do any like training. Dean is the guy that handles their tech support, and he used to do all the repairs here in Houston. And he's just not able to do that kind of stuff anymore. So here are the slicers. They're not all 220 volt. I'm pretty sure they have some other ones. Their whole warehouse is fully stocked with this. There is no shortage whatsoever. And like I said, they have the parts. If there's a part that they don't have that you need, they will get it from Mexico. It doesn't take that long. Vacuum tumblers. They have everything that the grocery store needs. Oh, I don't know what the hell a mixer grinder is. Maybe somebody can help me out with that. So here's all the stuff. So deli cases, the full 9. Man, you guys are really quiet today. We really went down the rabbit hole in the grocery store business, didn't we? All right. So all of these you can work on. You can work on all these, all the meat grinders, the meat band saws. Let's see here. The deli cases, all of this stuff you can deal with just from one manufacturer. It's a lot easier to get. Grocery is easier to get into than chain restaurants. So especially when it comes to specialty lines like Pro Cut. Now Pro Cut isn't like a high-end thing, but let me see here. Pro Cut meat scale. I can't remember what they call the scales. I believe it is Pro Cut. So not only do they have the grinders, but they also have the scales, the weight scales. They like to say that they specialize in pizza, but I've never seen anybody use it. Let's see here. Commercial deli scale. Oh, shoot. My typing is messed up. Becerba comes up. Becerba's a type. There it is. So it's under Torre. So let me show you Torre. And once again, like I explained before, Torre, Pro Code, all that. There's the same address, North Post Oak, Houston, Texas. some of this stuff is shifting around because of this merger. Toray is the actual one that owns the other three companies. So the ones that's heavy in beverage, deli cases, and in scales. So let's see here. I don't know why they have this stuff. So I don't know why they have to do this stuff so complicated. Let's see here. We'll go with the US site. Sorry about this. I'm bouncing around anyway. Bam. Here we go. Let me give you this link. Oh, you're way too kind. As you guys see me rambling on and just going through the madness of my mind. So here's what you would need. This is the whole shebang to make you a compelling choice when it comes to being a service provider for a grocery chain. When you get in with Toray, Pro Cut, Pro Cold, and then, man, the other name is escaping me. But it's used with Pepsi. And like I said, all of these, the rabbit hole that got me here is all of these things are made in Mexico. Due to NAFTA, they're able to make it in Mexico and then bring it on over without having to deal with tariffs. And the truckers don't need a special, license or anything like that. So they can just drive right across the border, which is how we got to this. That's how we got here, where all this stuff is made in Mexico and then trucked on over. So here are your scales. This is the large shipping and receiving scales when they're doing half beef, whole beef, quarter beef, that kind of thing. Here's the other one, your crane. So once again, when they're weighing the carcass, half beef, quarter beef, whole beef, that type of thing, they're hanging the carcass. And then when they slice it up, here are your scales. These are the ones that you would see where they put the fish on the scale. They put oxtails or filet mignon or New York strip. They put it on there, and then out pops the sticker that they would then put on the plastic, so that when you go to the register, you get charged for the amount of protein that you have just purchased. Once again, all of the parts are available through Toray. The tech support, everything is available through Toray. I've done a previous video on Toray. All that information is still valid. It's still the same thing. It's still Dean that everything has to run through. Like I said, it's a Houston number. If you look up if you look up, here's the phone number that you can't really see, or I don't know if you can, but that's the number to Toray. So if you guys are really serious about getting into grocery, if you're really serious about it, yes, it is. The Kofel, you are correct. Now, when you're dealing with a brand new grocery store, you don't have to worry about that. That's the nice thing. When you're dealing with a new grocery store, and that's mainly when you would get in there, is when it's a new grocery chain. They would call you because they freak out that something is not quite right. All that stuff is going to be pretty nice. In the back is pretty nice, but where they're doing the meat, where they're doing the slicing, where the fish is and stuff like that, yes, it can be kind of, lack of a better term, kind of icky. you can be dealing with a lot of fish smell, a lot of dripping blood and that kind of stuff, especially if the case is not cooling properly. But fun fact, they just sell the case. They don't sell the condensing unit. So the customer themselves is responsible for the condensing unit. Now, when it comes to, I don't know what they're doing now. I'm pretty sure they got rid of those plastic timers. They used to have plastic timers, the exact same timer like what you find in a GE refrigerator, like a top and bottom unit, where they had the dial, that 8-hour defrost timer. They had the same thing, so you'll still run into those. It's just the new production, they have to be all digital. No more timers. Timers are deemed inefficient. So now everything is digital. So once again, you get into the grocery chain, you get into a grocery store. I'm giving you the information for the cases. Now for the deli, you see Torre, Pro Cold, Arneg, Zero Zone, all these different brands. And then to really bring it home, deal with the slicers, deal with the it's really not bad with the, what are these? These are the not meat slicers. These are the meat saws. It's really not that bad. You would think it is. Most of the stuff that they're cutting is frozen. So these are clean cut. There's not any real gore. And then most of the time when you're dealing with the part of the machine that is isolated, and you have to deal with a belt. You got a couple of you have a belt, you got a motor down there. I got some pictures, but I wasn't prepared to show it right now. It's not really that bad. It's not really that bad. But the main thing is the scales. So you have a number of different scales that you can take care of. These potential customers would look to you to provide this service, especially with you being out there a quote-unquote expert on Torre, an expert on Pro Cold, an expert on Pro Cut. So then they would ask you to take care of these type of things. And you would have this ability. Dean over there at Torre would be able to help you out. He'd be able to get you whatever you need. Even if he has to call down there to Mexico, he'll be able to call from Houston to Mexico, get you what you need. You'd have it in a day or two to have whatever you need. So it would come on up. They would package it in Houston, and with whatever label that Parts Town or whatever sends over there, and then they'd label it, and off it would go. So here you would be fully in the grocery business, taking care of this type of thing. These are not rack systems. The deli cases and whatnot, and with Torre, Pro Cold, and all that, they're not ammonia either. They're 404 units. Some of them are 134A units. Some are 404. So it's not like they have. Of course, now they're going to be a little different, but you don't have any of these newer refrigerants with the ones that are made 3 years ago. The ones made 3 years ago, you're going to run into 134A. You're going to run into 404. That's going to be your most common ones. All the ones now, the customer has to supply it, and they're going to be 448A and all that kind of stuff. All right, so what about the cash register counters with the conveyor belt? I have no idea on that. I have no idea. That's a completely different thing. So Torre just makes everything that they need. Like I said, this is a separate thing. Whenever you go to the butcher shop, or whenever you go to the deli counter in the grocery store, you go back there, you point out what you want, and then they weigh it, print out the label, and you take it to the register. POS systems, that's going to be a whole nother thing. You're talking about NCR, National Cash Register. So that's going to be that's these people. That's a whole nother thing. And here the internet is listening to me. Hardware, cash register only, complete POS. I don't want to fill out all this stuff. No. National Cash Register. I don't even want to go over the history of National Cash Register. But anyway, it's National Cash Register that is the major player. You do have Samsung that's involved in that. You have IBM that's involved with the point of sale systems. But that's typically handled by a whole nother support system, which we in this business don't have anything to do with. Like I said, you're dealing with the banking system, you're dealing with servers, PCI compliance and that type of thing. That is something that we do not get involved with. That's a whole different career altogether. A whole different thing. Say Starbucks, Waffle House, Chipotle. That's a whole nother thing that has absolutely nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with us at all. But NCR is the major player when it comes to that. Everybody goes through NCR. But anyway, back from that rabbit hole. We got let me see here. Man, I'm trying to think of who. Someone else was asking me about this company, and I was trying to tell them that they're part of Torre. All right, but I think I'm done with that. I'm going to do another video about the different conventions, the different events that are coming up for the year. I had a list and I lost it. It was in one of my trade magazines where they were going over. Let me see here. They were going over the different events for the whole year. So let's see here. I'm going to go for the cost. So these are not units that people throw out. They are not going to throw out their Torre unit. They're not going to throw these things out. Only time they're going to get rid of the thing is when it completely rusts out. Yeah, here's the scale. That meat processing scale is 192. Some of these are, see, this was 1,290. Now, just so you know, these are only used for meat and fish. These aren't used for pastry. People will try to use them for pastry, but they're not rated for pastry. They won't maintain that kind of temperature. Do any of you know how these things work? Have you ever heard of gravity cooling? I don't think I'm saying it correctly, but it works by way of gravity. Have any of you ever worked on one of these before? Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever worked on a case like this before. And let me see if let me make this a little bigger for you guys so you can see this. So here you are, and this is without the refrigeration system. 3,000. So this is just a case. What Torre and everybody else is responsible for is they are responsible for the LED lighting. Here's Howard McCrae. They're responsible for the lighting, the evaporator coil, that type of thing. They're not responsible for the other one, anything else in there. They're structural concepts. Ooh, have I talked to you guys about structural concepts? Let me see if anybody has put anything in the chat. Nobody's put anything in the chat. Have you ever heard of structural concepts? I don't remember if I've touched on structural concepts. And then I'll talk about structural concepts, and then I'm going to end this thing. I think that's what we'll do. I'll round this thing off. I'm not even going to touch beverage air. So these are a sizable investment. They don't typically change these things out. So it is all work. It is all money. It is all condenser fan motors. It is controllers and compressors. Let's see here. Structural concepts. This is what you see in your CVS. This is what you see in every Starbucks. Structural concepts. You've seen some of these in the larger Walmarts and things like, not Walmarts, Walgreens, where they have the concepts where they have sandwiches, prepared sandwiches and things like that. That's those units. Structural concepts, 15,000, 16,000, 19,000. Good money. There's good money here. People aren't trying to just go ahead and replace these units. Okay. So structural concepts provides all of these things that you see here. You've seen them, but you just never, if you've seen these cases and just couldn't find the model number, you know, structural concepts has it like that, where sometimes they're not so easy to find. Supermarkets, convenience stores, like I said earlier, with the with that Walgreens concept, where they're trying to provide a food service. There's the kiosk units, structural concepts, and then they also have they have some other. Let me see here. Businesses and institutions. There you go. A lot of coffee shops. Just like Starbucks. A lot of coffee shops has this one. This is pretty much the same one that Starbucks uses. This case here. Other people make it. They also have, the quick QSR, quick service restaurant. Now, I don't know why they just switched it after they showed us that upright unit. Here we go. So you will notice these in various hotels that have a what they call a store. There are various upscale hotels and some not so upscale. They might be, I'm not going to say they're we'll say they're 3-star hotels. So some 4 and 5-star, they'll have these set up, as well as large corporations will have these where they have it in the cafeteria, in the lunch area. So this is structural concepts. Have any of you heard of structural concepts? Yes, they are very similar to them. Very similar. Never heard of. Okay, so structural concepts, like I said, they're in every Starbucks. Next time you go to a Starbucks, take a look in that display case, and you will see the structural concepts name. Like I said, travel and entertainment. The when you go through the hotel, when you go through the airport, you see these cases. Yeah, because they're in quite a few of those. Quite a few of those travel locations. Structural concepts is, I'm not going to say top 5. I'm going to say they're in the top 3 in this type of category when it comes to these upright cases. You have a number of players in this, whether it be federal, whether it be this is a very large category. Very large category. But structural is top, and they are very friendly, very easy to work with. Tech support answers very quickly. They're willing to work with you quite a bit. They'll give you the code, because the vast majority of these controllers have an access code, and they use the same access code everywhere. And sometimes I forget, and then they don't have any problem telling you what the code is to get in. Just so you know, there is a limitation on these type of units as to how you can change their controllers. Do not get frustrated that you'll have a customer that'll call and say that they have water pooling on the floor or some of these other things, and they have you come running out there, and you know, there's absolutely nothing you can do. When it comes to these type of units, they have curtains that must be pulled down at night to prevent the evaporator from overaccumulation. What happens is these things become dehumidifiers, and they're going to suck all the humidity out of the room. It ends up on the evaporator. When the unit does shut off, all that water, all that ice, all that frost turns into liquid, and it ends up overflowing the drain pan, and it ends up onto the floor. And a lot of times they'll blame the AC, and this is everywhere. This would be Starbucks, this would be hotels, whether it's the name of those hotels escaped my mind. I want to say it's like La Quinta. The name of the hotel chains escaped my mind, but they all have a whole wall of these. They make a lot of money off of the little store. Okay. All right. So Darius says it's funny. You've been to a lot of these company headquarters, right? Oh, okay. So you've been to Hoshizaki in Atlanta. In NCR. I don't know where NCR is, but yeah, NCR is a huge big name in Roystrom. But structural concepts, it is not very difficult to work on a structural concepts unit. The whole condensing unit slides out. The compressor, everything will come sliding out. They use let me see if I can find it. They use flexible refrigerant hoses. I repeat, they use it looks like stainless steel braided water line, only it's refrigerant grade. And so here they have all the manuals in the whole nine. You got everything you need. No needed, no one's trying to hide this from you. Only company that's a pain in the butt is like Taylor and a few others are a pain when it comes to trying to get this information, but no problem with downloading any of this. It's all readily available to you. Actually, the password and stuff is in here. Password is in here. So everything you need is here. How to change the controls, how to program them. Everything is here. Everything is here. Pressures. Let's see. Pressure chart is there. So they give you everything. So this uses see what I mentioned you guys before about glycol, and this uses the R744, which I just forgot. I think that's ammonia. Oh, was that ammonia or CO2? I forget. Maybe a CO2. Probably CO2. No, 717 is ammonia. 717 is ammonia. So this 744 is CO2. So once you go, bring it back full circle. Once you go and take the CO2 class with zero zone, that better equips you for the rest of these other items that are in grocery stores and grocery store adjacent, right? It will help you with these. Here are the remote units. All the information you need. They have everything you need. Tech support picks up the phone. Just know that these units use an air curtain system. Yeah, Peachtree, Georgia. Oh, let me make this bigger. I'm sorry. I thought you guys were able to see that. So everything you need is here. They give you all the pressure. They tell you if you guys, because I know in Puerto Rico and other places in the Caribbean, they charge according to amp draw. So there's your amp draw, plugs, everything. Everything that you need. Let me see. Let me go back. Like I said, markets. This is everywhere. So when you guys tell me you guys don't see any equipment, it drives me nuts because everybody has convenience stores around them. Everybody has a supermarket. Everybody has a hospital near them. Everybody has kids that go to school. Everybody has a university somewhere close, business institutions, and there's usually an airport within a couple of hours drive of you. So when people tell me that they don't see these things, it absolutely, positively drives me nuts. Absolutely drives me. Oh, look at that. They have the how-to video, the video library. Here, let me put this in the chat. There's your beloved R290 that all you guys are so petrified over. Look at that. It never fails. Every time I tell you guys I'm ready to get off this thing, at least 4 or 5 people come. So you have all your videos, shelf calibration. We talked about the shelves before. Equipment setup, cleaning and maintenance, uncrating. These manufacturers are trying their best to give you this information. They really don't want to do an in-person class. They feel ever since COVID, they found that it wasn't detrimental to them
when you're not doing to be cleaned.
In-person training.
Every structural concept
it wasn't a big deal. So
referring to your operator,
here we are.
Is key for proper
and when I was a kid,
this is a
there was no factory training class. When I was young, starting out, that wasn't a thing.
A mild multi-purpose cleaner, or
it was always on-the-job training.
Paper towels, a vacuum,
and there really wasn't even a
soft brush,
tech
and
department.
Descaling solution.
You had one guy that they would talk to on the factory floor, if anything. And then you would have whatever sales guy was in the area. That's who would mainly help out with something that if you had an issue with it. Now, here is the braided hose.
Plugging the machine will allow the pan time to cool off, in which time you can begin to clean the interior.
Where you see the zip ties, let's see here.
The LED
and once again, there's the plug to unplug the LED lighting.
Multi-purpose cleaner or
the whole back panel comes off.
The interior thoroughly. This is also a great time to check the drain.
There we go. That is where the magic happens, ladies and gentlemen. That is where the magic happens. I don't know if you've seen the videos that the other guys show. That's where the condenser, that's not the condenser, that's the evaporator. And it's all one unit. The evaporator, there's your TXV, there's your drain that usually leaks or overflows.
Condenser coil once a month.
The whole thing slides out. So there's 2 screws down there. Let me pause this.
With your fingers.
So, what the hell? All right. Here, all the way extreme left, where that little sticker is pointing and telling you that there's a screw there. Then where his heel is, there's another screw there as well. The entire unit pulls forward. That black hose is a flexible refrigerant line. Do they leak? Yes.
Slide the condenser
the rubber inside the hose degrades and it will actually
dust and debris from the condenser coil
become perforated. And you could spray it with leak detector and the whole thing will foam up. So these are devices that assist in wicking away the water that
use the paper towel to wipe off any remaining
goes down the drain into the evaporation pan.
The condenser unit back.
So they have all kind of extra items that they put in the drain to help assist with getting rid of moisture. All right, so that was like the cleaning, maintenance. Let me see what else they got here. Let's see if I have any questions. Uncrating. Let me see. Let me go into this, and then I'll see what kind of questions you guys had. Maybe I'll show you. Maybe I'll show you what that hose costs. So you might, from time to time, end up with a unit that has a leak. So it's not unusual for these things to leak from the hose. All right, yeah, if these are Starbucks.
Oasis,
so this like a cassette. It is like a cassette. It is a
Make sure you have all the necessary
It's a
tools,
cassette
including
light,
safety gloves,
should we
level,
say. It is just like a
flathead
cassette.
screwdriver, impact driver, and number 2
So you
and
unscrew
number
the
3
bottom.
Phillips
And
bits.
the difference between this and the cassette
First,
is that
remove the top 2
the
end pieces
cassette
from
is
the wooden
fully
crate using a
contained.
crowbar.
Everything is in the cassette.
Then,
But you
remove
just
the top
saw
2
that
little
the
pieces.
evaporator and the
Work your
fans
way around
are
the unit to
mounted
remove the remaining
inside the
pieces of the
unit.
crate.
They're in the case along with the TXV.
Remove the plastic wrap from the
The
unit.
condenser pulls out and is connected by way
The
of
case
that
will ship with the
flexible
lower panels attached.
hose.
Remove the lower panels by lifting up and off the case.
Okay,
Place the panels in
good,
an
Will
area
Cole.
away from foot traffic. Do not
Yeah, I know
remove the
you like
support
that. You
rails,
guys
the exhaust
charge
side of the case.
according to
Remove all
amp
the
draw.
metal shipping brackets located at the
I
air
know. The
exhaust
first time I
side
heard
of the
that,
case and from each end
I
of the air intake side
was
of
blown
the
away
case
the first time I
using
heard
a
that.
number 3 Phillips bit. Keep the screws from
It's
the
like a
shipping brackets
Bertizoni
for
built-in
securing the ramp in the
pullout.
next step.
No, it's not like a Bertizoni built-in pullout. It is not. Not at all. So anyway, so this is how this stuff comes. This is what you would be involved with if you were to ever have to set up a grocery store,
then
ever have to set up a coffee shop. I have a number of pictures of me setting up coffee shops. I turned down some too. I have to do some installs this coming week. This week is going to be very nasty.
And make
Got
sure
some
they
ice
are
machine
aligned to the center of the
installs.
casters on the
Maybe
unit.
I'll do some stuff on
Using the
Instagram.
screws from the shipping brackets,
9 times out of 10, it's
screw
not
the
going to
ramp
go
in place in
on
at least 2 locations
YouTube because
per ramp
YouTube is a
length.
little too difficult to set up in person.
Unlock
or on the
casters
fly.
by forcefully
63
pressing
Impala
down
was
on the
happening.
off areas of each caster lever.
So anyway,
The lever
so
will be
for
parallel
all
to
you
the
people
floor
that
when
just came
off and
in,
unlocked.
I'm going
Using
over
a
the
pry
rabbit
bar,
hole,
rotate the
going
casters
down
so they
through
are
the
in a
rabbit
straight
hole
line.
of the grocery
Make sure the
store
power cord is tucked
items.
away and that there are no obstructions around the unit.
And what is pivotal to this
case
is
is now
Zero
ready to be
Zone.
removed
Zero
from the
Zone
kit.
is willing to
This
train
step
you
requires a minimum of
on
2
working
people
on
and
these
must be
CO2
completed at the exhaust
systems
side of the case,
because they're
which
all
is the
going to
side opposite
CO2.
of the condensing coil.
They're either going to be CO2 or ammonia.
Slowly and carefully begin
So
rolling
after
the case
this,
down the ramps.
then I'll run through the Zero Zone again.
Stop midway down
The
the
training.
ramp. Check that the casters
There
are
is
filled
no
with the center
set
of the
date.
ramps.
This is
If
like
not,
XLT. There
adjust
is
the
no
ramps
set
accordingly.
date. You contact them.
Continue to
They'll group
slowly
people
roll the
together.
case
Say
all the
yes,
way
we'll
down
do
the
this
ramps to the
date.
floor.
It's a 2-day training. They have hands-on the last day. First day
The
is
2 center
theory and
casters
everything
can be
like that.
removed with the
Hands-on
number
on
3
the
Phillips
second
bit.
day, and then away you go. They're going to give
All
you a
tape and
certificate and
packaging
the
can
whole
be removed
nine.
from the unit and discarded along with
Certificate and the whole
skid,
nine. So,
cardboard ramps, and metal shipping.
but yeah, this is just an example. This is structural concepts. This is one that I consider in the top 3 in their class, top 3 in this category of refrigeration.
Check if the unit is level by placing a level.
Somebody's a Lowe's shopper.
Start by adjusting the vertical adjustment ring on the caster.
So anyway, so it's just setting all this kind of stuff up.
Use a flathead screwdriver.
Anyway, I'm going to run through this real quick.
Then,
so that was structural concepts. Jumping back to show to all the people who came in just recently that this is to help you on your dreams and aspirations on working in grocery stores. So if you would like to work in a grocery store, Zero Zone is doing let's see here. Zero Zone is providing training, CO2 training. So it's zero-zone.com. You go over here to the training. So it is a 2-day class. It is about, what is it, $400 for the class. So the cost is $400 for the 2-day class. It's 8 to 5 the first day, 8 to 3 the second day. They are in Minnesota. Ramsey, Minnesota. You have to pay for your own travel. You get a discount on the hotels that they tell you to go to. Only safety gear you need is you got to wear your steel toe boots. If you don't, they have toe covers. All right, they've only trained 150 people this way, and when you're done, you will get a certificate. You will get a certificate, and we've been over this. Zero Zone is in quite a few places. Oh yeah. So it's in quite a few places. So if you get this training, this opens up the way for you to get into rack systems. This opens up the way for you to get into the light industrial. It's just a matter of time, but because all these guys are running off of either ammonia or CO2, these industrial chillers. So it's the gateway drug. Get you into the grocery stores and whatnot. And that's how I started with this whole thing. That is what this is all about. They're doing this training once a month. So it's something that you could start to plan on. Let's see here. All right. What are the pros and cons of grocery store customers versus other type of customers like cafes? Okay. Well, the pros on working with a grocery store is that the grocery stores make a huge amount of money. So it's usually the cost is not your charges are not a factor. That's the pro. The amount of equipment you're dealing with is very diverse. Most grocery stores nowadays have cafes in them, so that's the pro. So it's lots of work, lots of different things. They have walk-ins, they have open air merchandisers, they have cases, they have deli cases, ice machines, blenders, mixers, slicers, scales, freezers, and you have your refrigerated your refrigeration units, like the Proco, the ones that have the juices and everything else in there. Sorry about that. I'm buffering. I'm lagging right now. I'm lagging. So it is so you have that wide, diverse product offering, and then they have hot side in there too, because they're going to turn the food waste into upsell take-home meals. So everything is starting to go bad. The other pro is because it has to be taken care of right away, they pay a premium. The con, let me get to the con. The con of this whole thing is, if a case is going bad, you're talking about several thousands of dollars worth of food that have to be serviced. The cons are this: if they don't have any room to take that food from that case and put it elsewhere, it's a problem. They're constantly being investigated because they're serving this food to the public. Hey, what's happening, Mel? Because they're serving this food to the public, health inspection comes through quite regularly, because they're serving prepared foods as well as raw. And then you have a varied amount of temperatures that these different items are in. So they're selling ice cream, and if those cases start to go bad, that ice cream goes soft. The employees are usually lazy. They don't want to move the food items. So you get there, everything's a soupy mess. They've already lost thousands of dollars. So all those are cons. Then you have other items that are not in sub-zero temperatures, that are maybe pastry items. So those as well, they don't have many other places to put them when something goes wrong. A unit goes down, they don't have very many places to put them. So those are the cons. The cons are they need a rapid response, because you're talking about thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars in food, especially if you're talking about the walk-in. If you're talking about the walk-in, you're talking about tens of thousands of dollars in food in a grocery store walk-in. Now they're going to have one walk-in that's a freezer, one walk-in that's a fridge. They can take that, if the freezer goes down, they can put that food from the freezer into the fridge, and it will last a little bit longer before it starts to thaw out, than versus them just taking it out of the freezer. But you have to respond quickly. You have to you have an option on the commercial side of contacting your local parts supplier, and they will open up. So if you need them to open up for you at 3 o'clock in the morning, you call a number, the guy will answer, and for $180, he'll stroll on down there to the parts house, and he'll fumble with his keys, and he'll open up the parts house for you, and he will sell you the parts that you need. So URI does that. Johnstone does that. I don't know if Baker does that, but URI does that. URI does that, and Johnstone does that. Which is why I tell you to sign up with your local part supplier, whoever that may be. You must sign up with your local part supplier. When it comes to grocery, most things cannot wait. Everything has to work. They don't have very much room for storage, and hopefully a case doesn't go down right when they get delivery. When they get delivery, so then their walk-ins are completely full with boxes, and they don't even have room to take stuff out from the display case and bring it back into those walk-ins. So you got those kind of situations. That is the con. But the pro is they're more than willing to pay. So that's the beautiful thing, is that they're more than willing to pay. The thing I hate about cafes are usually full of morons and idiots that think they know more than you and I, because they're experts on beer, because they're experts on coffee, because they're experts on wine. And somehow they think that translates over to refrigeration and hot side. They always think that they can do it all themselves, and it usually ends up getting in our way, usually ends up costing them more money. And these places usually don't work on as high, cafes don't work on as high a margin as you think that they do. So cafes are usually, for me, I try to avoid cafes at all costs. That is just my thing. I try to avoid mom and pop locations, cafes, and in, like, right now, I try to, if I'm not signed on to do the preventative maintenance at a grocery chain, or even at that small ethnic grocery store or regional, you can forget about it. I'm not doing it. It's just not happening. All right. And with that, if you all had any other questions, I'm just gonna bring this up for Mel real quick, because Mel just hopped on. Hey Mel, I got a class with Zero Zone, which is for you guys to learn how to work on grocery store refrigeration. So that's what this whole thing was about. It was about Zero Zone, and then I just spent 2 hours going down a rabbit hole talking about structural concepts and Proco, Procut, and a whole bunch of other stuff that you find in grocery stores. So that's what this was all about. And if there's nothing else, I'm going to wind this one on down. Like always, please subscribe, share the video. I'm trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers. So help a brother out. Help a brother out. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, sure. From the beginning, I just got the information on Zero Zone, how to get a hold of them. I don't know if you had any intentions on grocery stores or any of that kind of convenience store type of deal in South Florida. You do have a lot more of the ethnic grocery stores, and they use Zero Zone down there. They use Zero Zone. They use Structural Concept. They use Federal, that type of thing. And so this is preparing people for the future of CO2 units. And then some people want to even branch out and go into light industrial. So this is a class for them. All right. And with that, I'll tell you guys, see you later. Oh, no problem. Catch you guys later.